Okay, before we begin, I want to go back and talk about Nettie a bit. Now, Nettie tells Inanna that, stay here. I will speak to my mistress and tell her what you have said. But then he goes, and the first thing he says is that there is a lone girl outside. And only secondly does he say it is Inanna, right? I mean, that is unnecessary. That first line is totally unnecessary. He just has to say Inanna has arrived. Um, and then he says she pushed aggressively and shouted aggressively. Do do do. Um, like I'm reading this right now, and I don't even see him telling her about the funeral. Do. But anyways, you have to wonder about this Nettie character. He could be because he's the servant, right? But he's not really acting. He doesn't really seem to have a mind of a servant, right? So there could be more to this character, or there definitely seems to be more to this character here. But why would he say there is a lone girl outside, right? And that's because, I mean, just think about everything I've been saying. Um, the the toxic person, the wicked person, has to pounce on people who are unloved. I mean, there's nobody who's going to really fight for this girl who is being abused by this insecure man. Um, I mean, they may complain with righteous complaint, but there's nobody who's gonna fight for them, right? Um, the I mean, think about a lion, right? If a lion's being attacked by a bunch of hyenas, then he roars, and another lion, if another lion hears, will come to the defense, right? But then, if you think about a man who's shot in the back by a cop, I mean, we could think of like maybe if there's a big old gunfight, like a battle, then we could think, being shot in the back in the battle is uh, not a bad thing. But um, one so-called suspect uh, running away from a cop, there's no need for that cop to shoot this person in the back. That is a cowardly act. It is a hateful act. It could be an act motivated by unhealthiness. It's like this suspect is more healthy than this pudgy little cop who's not going to be able to catch this so-called suspect. And so he gets shot in the back, and what happens? Does anybody have his back? No, they don't. And they might complain, whine, but there's no, justice with hands. All the righteousness is with the mouth and not with the hands. So there's a lone girl. There's nobody who's going to fight for the victim of a toxic relationship. To be unloved in the world is, a common thing depending on what world you live in. If you live in a world that does not value love, then to be unloved is can be common for many people. They're born to parents who are narcissistic, or they're born to parents who are just trying to pop another one out, and they don't actually love the child. This is just a statistic in their mind. Um, yeah, who is going to go fight for that child? Fight. So there's a lone person outside. So that's what's going on with that. And Nettie, of course, he knows all this. Secondly, I want to go back and let's go land of no return and talk about how to speak this, right? Because I mean, this whole text is double meanings. So when you speak it, you have to know both meanings. And so when you do the land of no return, when people think of that, they think of just epic uh, fictional fantasy, the land of no return. And that's how it should be spoken, right? But at the same time, it refers to a single person, a toxic person. That the toxic person is the land of no return. Um, and so, I mean, so I'm not a voice craftsman. I'm a word craftsman. I can hear it as a words craftsman. So I mean, you might want to hyphenate it. Uh, you know, I just recently got into hyphenating, and I realized it brings a musical quality to the words. But I don't know how it would be done. But there has to be this, and it's almost like the first spirit is again a spirit of epicness. Period. Uh, and the second spirit would be a spirit really of childlike mischievousness. I read either Hermes Trismegistus or Moses, and I do get a spirit of childlikeness. Um, there's this childlike mischievous, and then keeping on this subject, we can go to what is this, right? Because this is holy Inanna saying, what is this? And so we would have to imagine some sort of negative emotion. Which specific negative emotion, that's up to the voice actor. She's going to be affronted because she has to strip naked. What is this? But at the same time, the second meaning is, the author, you know, challenging you, the reader. What is this turban? What is this headgear? I'm pretty sure I'm right as far as the human behavior is concerned, but I could be wrong with the turban and the headgear. You know, I think it's a good theory, but again, we need to fish for. It's okay to be wrong. You know, whenever you're uh, listening and understanding, and whenever you're thinking and you're meditating, you don't have to be so serious, right? You don't judge first, right? And I think we'll get into this later, but you don't judge first. Um, you have to examine and think, and then judge, and then after you judge, you can be serious. But when we don't have to be so egotistical in our thoughts, it just gets so annoying. So, I mean, what do you guys think about these the beads? I mean, like if we extrapolate from the first one, we could say head intelligence. So with this one, this would be neck, which would be throat, which would be voice. So voice, and it's a small voice maybe. So there's praise in a small voice. I mean, we can all know the person who talks too much. Uh, I don't know. What do you guys think? But this I don't necessarily see. And then these next two, I would say breast or chest. So breast for a woman, but chest for a man would be heart. Um, but as far I mean, and there's I think I'm losing something in translation here, and I also don't know the different instruments and different names of female clothing. So, I mean, she puts it on all up here. Where does she put it on? There it is. Let's see. There, can you see it? Yep. Now she just goes over. She like some of this is redundant. The twin egg-shaped beads on her breast. Okay, we knew that. And then there's the golden ring. We know that. That's redundant. Then the measuring rod, measuring line redundant. The only new information that we get here is with the come man come over the breast, the pectoral, whatever that is. Now she puts on the dress first and then the pectoral, right? So, like when I first thought of pectoral, I was thinking maybe like a corset, but a corset's first and then the dress. So I don't know what this pectoral is. But with these new lines, I think what this author is trying to do is he is trying to create a uh, mental programming in the viewer. So whenever the Sumerian sees pectoral, they may have whatever thoughts they have about this pectoral. But he wants them to think come man come when they think pectoral. So this is like, Pavlov's dogs. Um, but what is this come man come? And the meaning of this I don't think is immediately apparent to a Sumerian, so he has to explain it, and we get it in the mascara. So I mean, with mascara, we could say attractiveness, but I think along with attractiveness, I mean, because we would think that what is attractive? Well, the naked body. Um, so covering the body up is covering up that attractiveness. But at the same time, clothing itself can be a part of the attractiveness, right? And so I would say there's mystery involved, right? With mascara, there's mystery and attractiveness. Maybe these are the thoughts going on here. And that would make sense. Like you think about a toxic relationship, and you know, they we're not allowed to have a mystery within that relationship. Everything has to be, you know, there can be no mystery. Um, we don't, again, it comes down to respect. If you respect another, then you respect the person that they create, whoever that is. As long as they have a good heart, there's nothing against them. And so, mystery, right? So maybe there's some mystery going on here. But I'm just throwing out ideas. I do not see these. I do not see these third and fourth gate or the second gate necessarily. Because there's the twin egg-shaped beads that are on the breast. Again, breast is love, heart. And the fact that you can't have your own voice would make sense. Now this next one, oh no, the next one is the ring. And ring, okay, we have hand here, and hand is simply power. So that makes sense. You're not allowed to have any power. But as far as how ring associates with hand, I don't know. Yeah. Oh, I also want to point out Nettie again. Nettie's pretty funny here. Uh, and again, uh, look at this line, and it keeps being repeated, which is funny. You must not open your mouth against the rights of the underworld, right? I mean, I think with all that I've said, you guys can interpret that for yourselves, right? You must not open your mouths against, you know. Okay, this one though, the measuring rod and the measuring line. And this one I'm pretty sure is judgment. Okay? And this goes back to what I was saying earlier. I know a wicked or toxic person has no distinction between their thoughts and their ego. If you disagree with them, then you're their enemy. They're very dangerous people because you're not allowed to speak freely in front of them. They are judgment itself, right? So I mean, the human heart is pretty simple. You're either loving or hateful, But man can be wonderfully complicated because, um, I mean, you can have a man who is speaking justice, right? He's speaking justice, but like a lot of the times, a narcissist, right? They can be very just, right? The man who tries to intimidate another man, right? He's making up a just reason in his mind. Uh, um, and maybe from here we can go on to like the nature of evil, right? I mean, what is the nature of evil? The nature of evil is totally not Hollywood, right? Because in Hollywood, the nature of evil is that the evil man has an evil face, right? And the good man has a good face, right? Well, that's just simply not true. Uh, you know, the man who tries to intimidate another man is putting on a face of justice. But he has hatred within his heart, or sometimes cowardice, or sometimes he is just an experimental psychologist. Um, Again, the wonderful complexity of man. So, I mean, like think about women. Like, can I get my women out there? Think about all of the toxic men in your life. Did they have evil faces? Right? No, they had. Oh my god, they had very beautiful, charming faces. Right? Men, I mean, same thing. It's about like in the Torah, it talks about God being a searcher of hearts. Right? The nature of evil is that evil usually puts on a good face, a loving face. Um, so you're not allowed to have a judgment around a toxic person. Your judgment has to be their judgment, whatever that judgment happens to be. This is, again, this is a person who does not separate their thoughts from their ego. Very disgusting. And you must not open your mouth against. And then there's the dress. And this dress symbolizes ladyship, right? And this is the last gate that she has to go through. Now, what's interesting is that we will come to the god Enki, I think is his name, and Enki will create two. I think they're like two Sumerian trans heroes. And these trans heroes are able to go through all these gates, without these gates stopping them. And it's interesting here that Inanna has to get rid of what makes her a lady. And again, the meaning of this passes me by. I don't know. What do you guys think? What does it mean to get rid of your ladyship, right? I mean, my thoughts on this are that, um, if you want to characterize generally men and women, you would say that men have a drive. There's something that drives them. And so this drive is able to get men to, produce because they want to. Not in the world that we're living in, where we're not really producing for ourselves, we're producing for others, so men are miserable. But if that drive is fulfilled, where they're able to produce, then they're a lot happier. Um, and if we want to generally characterize women, we would say that women are more emotionally intelligent, and they are happier in relationships, right? Women love relationships with other women or with men, with family. And so what I would say is that a whole person is both masculine and feminine. If a woman is all about relationships and she has no drive, oh well, then she's gonna be a burden. And if a man has, all this drive, but he has no love in his life, he's, emotionally stupid, then he's going to be miserable. Men do yearn for relationships. They just don't admit it. And women do yearn for drive. They also just don't admit it. And so, I mean, let's go back to the nature of good and evil. Generally speaking, we're talking about freedom versus slavery, right? The good person is free. The wicked, the toxic person is a slave. The carnal man is a slave to his body, right? What is a narcissist a slave to? Their own ego, maybe. But their relationships are only slave relationships, right? When you get into a relationship with a toxic relationship, you have to get rid of your identity. In a healthy relationship, both people keep their identities. Do. So, I mean, boom. But like, what is this? Like, again, we'll come to these Sumerian trans heroes later. And I think I'll just stop this one here for now. Do. But all to me, all this is a lot of this is making sense. But we will take this up next time.